On this week's episode of Tiaras Tears and Triumphs, I have a wonderful conversation with fellow survivor of an abusive relationship, Karen Botha. She lives in South Africa and is on a path to healing her life. Sometimes you don't even know that you are leaving a cycle of abuse until you take time out to visit family. So that certainly was the case for Karen. And let's take a look at how Karen learned that until you make a decision to leave, nobody can save you. And why breaking free always starts with you. I apologise in advance for a few sound glitches through this conversation, but this is how I show up. Doing the best job that I can with what I have, hoping that it will help you, and knowing that it is still okay for me to show up not being perfect. Okay, let's open the door on this week's episode. Hello, Karen, and welcome to Tiaras Tears and Triumphs. I'm so happy to have you on the podcast today to just have a chat as, you know, one survivor to another of an abusive relationship. It's really great to have these conversations, and I feel very, very honoured to have you with us today. Could you just start by just telling us a little bit about yourself and I suppose just a little bit of your backstory so we've got an understanding of who Karen is?
Sure. Hi, Sammy. Thanks so much for having me here today. So my story is one that I think is quite common. I was in a narcissistic relationship for just over 5 years. And for a lot of the time, all the signs were there and it was quite obvious. But, you know, I didn't think that it was abuse. I didn't think, you make excuses for all the behaviors. And you see it, and sometimes they're even telling you the things that they're doing to you, and you just don't want to believe it. So you keep making excuses, and eventually it became a little bit physically abusive, and it was a big wake-up call. And only once I managed, through a weird, strange set of events, I actually managed to get away. And when I had some distance, and I started reading, one of my friends actually sent me some literature on narcissist behavior, narcissistic abuse. And I started realizing what had been going on. And he ticked every single box. And as I started thinking back, I started realizing that it was obvious abuse, and it wasn't me, and it wasn't things that I was doing or causing or all the things that that you told and you start believing about yourself. And it was quite a big wake-up call.
Did you feel in that time that you were in that relationship that you lost yourself?
Oh, absolutely. I lost myself. I lost my friends. I lost family. I lost who I believed I was. I lost business. I lost basically everything. I became pretty much a shell, and a puppet.
Yeah. And so what was there anything that where did you find your courage to draw the line in the sand and remove yourself from the relationship?
There were a couple of triggers, and looking back, at the time, I think they triggered the action, but I didn't realize that they were what they were. So I had a woman asking me, like we were a group of friends and we were out together, and she was asking me questions that made me question the relationship, just question the behavior within the relationship. And she said to me, what you're in is not a normal relationship. You need to seriously consider getting out, or this is going to start turning. And I didn't think too much of it. I thought she was just had a bit to drink and whatever. And then in the community we stayed, there was a domestic violence incident, and two of the women, and the woman was calling out on the community group, and these women were reacting to her in what I thought was quite a hectic way. The other women in the community, and they were saying, you know, until you make a decision and you want to leave, nobody can save you. The ball's in your court. And at the time, I was shocked at their response. You know, I was thinking, you know, this poor woman, she's in the situation, people must help her, whatever. And that also got me thinking, and if I'm ever going to get out, I have to do it.
Mm.
And then lastly, my daughter used to stay with us, and it became incredible. He became verbally and emotionally abusive to her and eventually kicked her out. She's an adult daughter. And she refused. She said to me she would refuse to leave unless I got myself out of the situation.
Mm.
And so she was, I suppose, the one who got me to look at things. And then an opportunity came for me to come and visit my brother far away. And then he just said to me, stay, you know, don't go back.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. That is amazing. And doesn't that just speak volumes that your daughter had that preparedness to stay within that volatile, you know, situation because she didn't want to leave mum behind in it, and she felt
Exactly.
so strongly about that. And then for your brother to take that opportunity and say, this is it, this is your opportunity to distance yourself from this toxic person. Don't go back. It's I think such a difficult thing for women to extricate themselves from abusive relationships and from that cycle of abuse. And even though they might have a preparedness to, I think, be in that pre-contemplative state of I really want out. I really want out of this relationship. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be doing this and going around in the same circle over and over again. I want this to change. But because of the powerlessness that women experience at the hands of narcissists, it is not an easy thing to actually put into practice. And I come from a place, Karen, where I think that intervention and support is something that really helps women, to acts as a catalyst for women to actually take those physical steps to distance themselves from the abusive person. I do agree with the women in the group who took that hard line and said, you have to actually make that choice. You're the one who has to act. And at the end of the day, yes, it ultimately is you. But that doesn't mean to say that there aren't people who can be there for you, to be in your corner and to bring it to your attention that, hey, this is a now thing that you need to do. This is not something that you should be putting off because you don't know where this is going to go next. Please know you're not in control of what is going on in your home. He's the one who is in control of the way he is acting, and you're not in control of that. So what you need to do is you need to put yourself and your safety first. And it's such an incomprehensibly big thing to try